going on, dudes and dudettes? So finally have a bunch of stuff queued up. I know it's been a while, but let's dive into it. So USC is contemplating whether or not to, because they still need to fill out their schedule the next few years as far as their opponents for USC football who they're playing, whether it's at home or away, and especially the out-of-conference games. So they've been thinking and toying with the idea of putting in FCS schools, which means they're Division II schools, which aren't bad schools to play against, in my opinion, because they can do upsets, which I hope wouldn't happen to USC. But if you schedule against the better competition and the teams that usually win those tournaments at the Division II level, then you could have a good matchup on your hands, not only for yourself, but then the committee's not going to look bad on you for playing a Division II school when really they could be a Division I. I mean, it's better than playing like an Arkansas State or a North Texas, in my opinion, because those schools, even though they're Division I, they're not really that good looked upon as far as the committee that's putting the Final Four teams in the playoffs. So that's just my opinion. I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't put any it wouldn't lessen the schedule, in my opinion, for USC, who's a dominant team. So I don't know, it could be very interesting to see what they can do. And then one of the players so far that has gotten some impact awards lists for the end of the season is Christian Rector right now, the defensive end for USC. So it's good that he came back for his senior year. He probably would have been a late draft round pick, but I think him coming back to bolster him up to the second or third round, and that could be great for him. So I'm honestly glad he's back for his senior season, and hopefully he can improve and maybe win some of those awards. Of course, we all like that. And then some great news for college football video game players. Obviously, they hadn't had a video game come out for college football or even like NCAA basketball, the college basketball games either, the video games since like 2013, because an old player realized when his son was playing a video game, he's like, oh, that player looks like me, and he's like, yes, I'm playing as you, Dad. So then he's like, well, why are they using my likeness and all this stuff, and I'm not getting paid for it, or wasn't even notified about it at all, which I highly doubt. But yes, so he decided to sue the game, and they haven't made any since. And now that story came out where the NCAA is looking to maybe pay players for their likeness and everything like that, so probably make money off of signing sessions or whenever people buy their jerseys or shirts made from them or anything like that, and they could get compensation for that. So which is finally a good step in the right direction to finally get this game back. Obviously it's been more than 5 years. It's probably going to be a while until it comes out, but you never know. Hopefully something cool like that could happen for those college football video game fans. Then other USC basketball news, them saying that there's a lot of expectations for Andy Einfeld, the head coach, and his recruiting class, because it's one of the top classes in the whole entire nation. But obviously he's getting a lot of transfers and a lot of pretty good talented players coming in. So they're looking to have a really good year. I'm just kind of seeing, just because there's probably like only 4 or 5 returning players from the last team from this last season, and then everybody else is new. So it could be great or it could be a disaster. So we're just gonna have to wait and see and hope for the best. Chargers news. So yes, they did let go of their offensive lineman Zachary Crabtree, and then they filled that spot, I believe, with safety Darius Pickett, who's a rookie at UCLA, who's a guy who I said they should look at because he probably was most likely not going to get drafted. So I was hoping they would probably try him out. Luckily they are, and we'll see what he can do. He's a pretty talented guy, even though he went to UCLA. But they did say that Joey Bosa is actually there right now for OTAs, which is, off-season training, and the veterans aren't supposed to turn up till I think another week or two, but he's there now when the rookies are, and he looks really good, looks really fast. He says his foot injury is finally behind him, which is great. I just hope he doesn't push it too hard and then ends up being injured by the time the season comes around. I just hope he can show what he can do for a little bit, take some rest in between as well before the regular camp starts up in the summer. Then also there's another bit of news of a pretty talented defensive lineman that just got let go by the Tampa Bay Bucks, surprisingly, in Gerald McCoy, which is obviously a position at D-tackle that the Chargers need, because you already know I don't like the draft pick that they have. And of course, that dude is injured, so he's not even at the rookie mini camp right now. So of course, that's just the luck that I always say. They go against what I do, and that's what was going to happen. And of course, it's happening already. He has a stiff neck, as they say, and he can't freaking play, which sucks. And it's going to ruin his development already, but that's just my opinion, obviously. But this guy could be a really good pickup. Obviously, since that team let that position go, they did sign that Ndamukong Suh guy. I said the Chargers were probably looking to sign in June, but now they don't have to give up a pick for him. I don't know what the compensation is for when you sign this guy, because he was let go this late. But if there's no thing where you lose a draft pick, then might as well just sign him now, because definitely a guy you could look forward to definitely start in your defense right away. And he's looking to go to a contender, so I'm pretty sure he's looking at Saints, Browns, Chargers, and the Patriots right now. So it should be very interesting, and hopefully we can snag him and keep him part of our team. Should help out a lot. Then NFL.com came out with a ranking saying that the Chargers have the best overall roster out of every team in the NFL. I don't know, just because you've only really added a few different people from last year's team, and last year they didn't really do all that good. They were final 8 teams, I believe, or something like that, but they weren't even in the final 4 or in the Super Bowl. And you're already saying that they have the best roster, so as usual, it's just everybody hyping up the Chargers, and hopefully they can at least live up to some of that expectations, at least a little bit. But I think it's going to be tough, especially with Kansas City. And I actually kind of like some of the draft picks. A few of the players I wanted on the Chargers actually went to the Raiders, and even the Broncos as well, and the Chiefs. So obviously the Chargers weren't paying attention at all. Only one guy, but I have to wait and see. And it should be a very interesting NFL season coming up. So a little bit of Duke news today and Lakers stuff after. So Charger, so let me get this correct. So yes, Marvin Bagley, the forward that got drafted number 2 overall out of Duke to the Sacramento Kings, made the first team all-rookie team. It's very cool. It's obvious that he gained a lot of respect because he wasn't given the opportunity to start a lot or even play a lot. His injury didn't really hold him back as much as a lot of the other players, but even with the limited amount of time, he still impressed a lot of the NBA folks out there, which is really good. Obviously, hopefully he can get some more playing time this next year coming up with Luke Walton there. We'll see how that goes. He always likes to do guys. And then there was a lot of speculation that Brian Windhorst of ESPN said that there is a slight possibility that Zion Williamson could return to Duke because he had not signed with the agent yet, or even his shoe deal yet. But I thought I saw something where he did some type of endorsement or something like that, and I didn't know if it was for Duke or for Duke he was doing it for, or just for himself. I don't know. It seemed like a promotional thing anyways, but it seems like if he were to return to Duke, he couldn't do that. He couldn't do it anyways. But obviously his stepdad came out on one of the ESPN radios out there and said that there's no way he's going to go back, and obviously he'd be dumb to do it just because of your shoe deal is going to be amazing. Obviously, because he's in a smaller market, it's not going to be probably over $100 million as they were projecting, but it's still a lot. He's probably going to make more off his shoe deal, like I've been saying, in his first 4 years on that first year instead of his first 4 years of his rookie contract. But you got to do it. There's no taxes over there, so you might as well just stay on that team for at least 4 or 7 years, depending if you want to sign an extension or not. And then Barrett came out, the guy who was projected to go top 3 in the NBA draft out of Duke, saying he'd prefer to go to the Knicks or the Lakers for obviously picking 3rd and 4th in the draft. And he's projected to go there anyways, to either team. He'd prefer to go there. I don't see him dropping past any of those, whether it's New York Knicks or the Lakers. So obviously he's going to get his wish, but hopefully it would be the Lakers, because in my opinion, he's the Canadian Mamba, as they call it, or he's the next Kobe Bryant. In my opinion, he has that ability. If he could get more consistent in a lot of areas, and since he won't have to be the focal point as he was when Zion Williamson went out at Duke, he could be playing alongside LeBron James, or they could send him to New Orleans and maybe another player or two and a future pick for Anthony Davis as well, to reunite him with Zion Williamson there. So you never know, that could be another possibility. And then also newest one of the other day, the projection came out of the top 5 of the draft, saying Zion Williamson of Duke would go 1st to the Pelicans, Barrett would go 3rd to the Knicks, and Cam Reddish of Duke also would go to Cleveland at number 5. And then the Lakers pick would be Jarrett Culver, who's a shooting guard from Texas Tech, which I don't mind. He could be a pretty good player. Obviously, once again, just needs to be a little bit more consistent. He did stay another year in college, so he is a little bit more ripened than the freshman. But he kind of seems like a copy of Jimmy Butler, who they might end up having to sign if they can't sign any of the top 4 or 5 guys. So you could have 2 guys on the same team who are basically the same type of person, but to be able to learn from a Jimmy Butler and be like the same mold as him could be beneficial for him in the future, in my opinion. But let's get on to some Lakers news. See if I could get all this information in one take. So yes, the Lakers introduced Frank Vogel, I believe it was on Monday, and obviously something else, a bit of news came out a little bit earlier than that, but I'll get into that eventually. But yes, he said he did end up talking with LeBron after, finally said it was a very positive meeting, which is always good. At least that's the correct way to at least go through. And I believe LeBron was in attendance when he was being introduced, which is a good sign as well. Pretty sure LeBron has respect for Frank Vogel. Probably wasn't his first choice, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to be all that troubled with Vogel and Jason Kidd there, in my opinion. Then also they had Rob Pelinka officially, I guess, becoming the main guy instead of finding someone that's ahead of him as the president of the basketball operations. So apparently he's still the GM, but he still has to go through Genie Bus and everything like that to make sure everything's okay. I don't know, I'm pretty sure he needs somebody else ahead of him. In my opinion, people keeps thinking it's Kurt Rambis who's there, but he also answers to Genie Bus. He doesn't have any authority over Pelinka apparently, but it's just a bunch of too many hands in one pot, in my opinion. But then there was also news saying that the owner, this older woman for the Pelicans, supposedly said that she wouldn't trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers over her dead body, but they did a more in-depth interview with her person to person and found out that that was not true at all. So obviously there's a small chance that the Lakers could be in play to trade for him. Pretty sure it's just depending what happens with the draft pick and who else that they end up acquiring, but just have to wait and see on that. And then the big bombshell news, I believe it was Monday as well, that Magic Johnson was on First Take on ESPN talking about everything from the backstabbing that he felt that Rob Pelinka was doing to him, because he went in to Jeannie Buss, and when he accepted the job, saying that, you know, I can't be here 100% of the time, but when I am here, I'm gonna give you my all and do what I can. So then there was news saying that Pelinka was putting out there, oh, how come Magic's not here? Where's Magic? But it's because apparently that was never told to anybody else. But I'm pretty sure he did that because he is an agent, so they are pretty known for backstabbing and doing some questionable things, in my opinion. But it's also a fault on Jeannie Buss, in my opinion, as well, because she should have known that if she was going to hire somebody that wasn't 100%, then he knew some crap like this was going to happen. Obviously, you don't want to see Magic Johnson, a Laker great, talking crap on them, you know, a month or so before free agency starts in July. And it already looks like, since the guy that is there who backs at him is still employed there, then why would any team want to go, especially Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard, the two top guys who are the Lakers are trying to at least get one of them. It is a very slippery situation. It's not one where I'm really looking forward to or happy about so far, but it's the crap we got to deal with. And then the Lakers path to the draft, they're saying that they have a picture of Kobe White there, who's a point guard out of North Carolina, who I've been talking about. But then they also had discussions of that supposedly there's rumors that they would try to get Kyle Lowry, Derek Favors, or Bradley Beal. Honestly, Kyle Lowry is trash in my opinion. He can't play at all. He's already 33. He's complaining about a finger on his off shooting hand when Kobe Bryant's fingers on his shooting hand would be, like his knuckle would be almost to his wrist, and they put it back and he was still shooting and scoring and playing with that. It didn't miss any time, so I don't want a guy like that on my team, especially if you have to trade for him. But other packages include like moving Lonzo Ball to Chicago, which has always been talked about, probably for Chris Dunn or maybe another draft pick. You never know. Could also entice sending that pick to New Orleans as well. But definitely trading for Bradley Beal is an option out there. There was a thing said that they could trade for Chris Paul, or that the Rockets should trade Chris Paul and get like a guy like Lonzo Ball, I'm assuming, on their team, switch point guards. But it's not really a fair trade because Chris Paul's old and injured and all that stuff. So it's a lot of Lakers crap I always seem to be talking about at the end. But thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. And have a great rest of your day.
We are in the bottom of the third round. I did 400 guys, CD. 400 players I worked on. Quincy was not one of the guys that I did.